listeners, Harika here, and I'm super excited to welcome you to UppTalk. If you're ready to learn and get your hands work wonders in the world of information technology, then you're in the right place. When I say UppTalk, we are not just another edtech company. Consider we are your learning partner committed to unlocking your full potential. Whether you're stepping into the world of technology for the first time or looking to advance your career, we provide top-tier, hands-on courses to build up your career. Let's take our first step towards learning here and explore it.
Now let's say that we have a two-data extension. One data extension has the information about a customer. The data extension has the information about the coupons the customer has. If the customer has a coupon and is valid, or is it being blamed or not blamed, and we have all of this information to data extension and we would like to compare it, then I'll get a data extension using SSJs. We do the SQL, we write the SQL, but SQL does not update the existing data extension. But using SJs, we can update the existing data extension easily. We also use this SSJs mainly for updating the customer data extension directly. Now let me show you the example which I have brought. Now I have an example which I have created. This is a script that I haven't prepared. Here, what I'm basically doing is I'm going to run this piece of script in my automation studio. This will keep on updating the records in the data extension that we pick up. Now let's copy this script and put it in the automation studio first, and then we create also a data extension. Let's see how it is really implemented for this SJ script. I have access to the script activity. I think it was removed some time ago. Now I have them back. JS example. Here, let's put that script. Let's create a new script. Now I have put the script here. If I validate, it will not throw any errors. Now, what's something that I have written in the notepad? We usually run this script at the server. That's the reason we always start the SSJ script. But we're starting with the script, and then we have to end with the script again. If we look at this, SJs always SSJs is to be run on the server side and JavaScript runs on the client side too. If I give you a best example, we write the JavaScript for multiple websites and multiple applications and many other use cases. This JavaScript will be loaded one day if the customer tries to get access to that particular application. Example, if I give you best example, I just go to some website randomly, and when I go, it is asking for, if you ask for, a small pop-up window will come. They will ask you to give a consent and all of them. Then if I give a consent, that's when it will be taking us. Basically, it captures all the cookies, allow all cookies or disable all cookies or save my collection. We usually get that pop-up window. That's usually being created from a JavaScript. This is happening. This consent button is coming when we load the landing page. This is loading at the customer client side. Only if any of the customer trying to access that particular website, that pop-up window will run because they go to that website. The JavaScript will run and then it will just throw pop-up a window. Now, this is a client side that we are doing it. If SSJS is on the server side in the Marketing Cloud server, we are going to run all of the script and then the result is going to be stored in the Marketing Cloud server again. That's what we are doing it here. That's the reason we are seeing like running that server and language is equal to JavaScript. Perfect. Here we have to use a core library whenever we are doing an update function. If I'm using only lookup rows and all of them, I don't need to use this core libraries. That is something that we will define, usually like whenever we write the SSJS, only based on the libraries that we're using in the script. Now, if I look at the script, I'm using an update function and also a lookup function from a data extension. That's the reason I have declared the platform load as a core library. If I don't update this single line, it's not required. And then we declare the variable same as what we have done it in the AMP script. Variable event D. Here, this is a data extension. I'm setting the values from this data extension to this variable. Simple. It's the same way, but we are doing it using this function. Here, this is my external key of a data extension. I suppose let me probably do one thing. I'll create a data extension here. Data extension name. Probably I'll give it as event details. Let's keep it as a sendable. In this event details, what all data extension fields that I have is event ID, and I have events open available and then number of events. Number of coupons. This will be a Boolean field. And this is going to be my primary key. I can also keep it as it is. I just keep it as it is without a primary key. There are only 3 fields. Number of coupons has coupons. As coupons is going to be from this data extension. Perfect, only 3 fields. Let's create this data extension. Usually, I should have not made this data extension as a sendable. This has to be not sendable. We don't need the sendable. Now we have this data extension. Now we also have to create one more data extension. This is a place where we will have all the information about our coupons. In this data extension event, ID again, and we will also have this column called client, and this will be a Boolean field again. And then we will have a mask open. and we have coupons. Mask opens is going to be Boolean field. Number of coupons is going to be indexed. Open client is again going to be Boolean. Perfect. Now we are updating our filters. Event ID, coupon ID. That is all fine. This is how sometimes it used to be crazy. Marketing Cloud. I need a refresh and then recreate it. Once we create this data extension, we again come back to this SSJS. Why we are doing this now? Now we are going to create a new one. This is my Boolean. My school print is also Boolean. This is perfect. Now it's created. I have a two data extension now. This is a data extension 1. This is my data extension 2. In this data extension, I have a details about the coupons. In this data extension, I have about the events. Now suppose if I click on any of this data extension, the common field that I have between two of the state extension is event ID. Event ID to event. Here, if I open the state extension, I have also event ID. What we are basically doing is we are comparing both the data extension. If event ID in the state extension is equal to event ID in this data extension. It can be a subscriber key or it can be your email address. It can be your mobile number, anything. It depends on how the data structure that you have in your organization. It can be subscriber key for subscriber key in this data extension. A subscriber key in this data extension is equal to same. And then if this particular subscriber has a coupon, does not have a coupon, we are going to keep that information as a data extension. That data extension will tell if the customer has already claimed the coupon or not, or if there is any valid coupons that still exist. If the coupon is exist, we can bring that into a data extension. Or we can also write that like through SSJS. That's the basic we are doing. We are comparing two of this data extension, and then we are updating a data extension here through SSJS. Now that those data extension does not have any values, let's talk about now. Come back to SJS. Here we are doing a for loop condition here. Basically what it is going to check is this for loop is going to check all the records in the data extension. If a customer has a false, if a customer has left any coupons available, if at any point of time, we are checking this to of this value from this data extension. This is a place where we will have all of this information about has coupon, number of coupons, and all of them. Information in this data extension. If any point of time, if the question, if the customer has, if the row is more than 0. That means if a customer has a coupons, then we are storing this information in this data extension called UNDD update. Here we are using a platform function called update data. We are given a name of data extension here, and then we are updating this value into this data extension directly. We are checking here if the customer does have a coupon. If the customer has a coupon, then we are updating these fields into this data extension that we have picked up here. That's exactly what we are doing here, but in the SSJ script, this is not a name of data extension. This is your external key of data extension. In this case, my external key for the data extension is this, and this is a value that I have to take it there. In SSJ, basically we refer them using external keys. This is my external key, and here I'm retrieving all the rows of this data extension. In this variable, I'm retrieving all the rows, and then I'm checking here if they have a coupon is equal to false or number of coupons is equal to 0. And it will be keep on checking from this data extension. And if at any point of time, if the length becomes 1, that means that customer has a number of coupons, like a 1, something like that. That means the customer has a coupon. If it's more than 1, if it's more than 0, then these two fields will be updated in this data extension with the values that we pick up here. Number of coupons is going to be saying like a true, and then number of coupons. If we have more than 1 or 2, then it will be like a number of 1 or 2, like in the data extension. We have created another data extension. Hopefully someone has some question. We cannot use the data extension name. We need to give an external key. Yes, exactly. Here in the lookup condition, we can give the data extension name directly. But whenever we are setting values to a variable, like here, we have declared variable and we are setting this value of this data extension to this variable. For that time, we have to use the external key. Perfect. But even D is not used anywhere. This is a variable. Got it. For this variable, I am declaring the value of this data extension using external keys. Perfect. And now what I basically need to have is a record in two of these data extension. In this data extension, I will have all the event ID. Let's say I have a subscriber ID here. Like subscriber key for all the customer, and I have a subscriber key also in this data extension. In this data extension, now it will check if any of the customer does have the coupons available or not. When I run this script, when I save this script and then run it, this is changed from coupon. I don't see a save. It's saved. Now I can just save it and then start running them. Let's just use example. Perfect. I can just run them. If I have the records in both the data extension, it will check and then it will be updating this data extension call. I guess it is updating this data extension. It will be updating this data extension here. The name is wrong here. I have to just update the name here as well. Perfect. This is something that we quite frequently use it. We use this because SQL activity cannot do this. There are plenty of use cases that we have using SJS. The most commonly that we use is SJS for updating, checking the data from a different data extension, and then we will update it here. Now, this is because this runs at a server. What if I have this information? I'm checking some information from this data extension, and what if I don't have this information in my marketing club? That's when also we use SJS. Suppose if I have this information in a server and I need to include a little more script, extra script. What is my script is going to be? In a Postman, we have done an API session. We have looked into an API session where we have used multiple write. We have to write those scripts into this SSJS to bring the data from a different system. Here, what are we trying to do? We are retrieving from a different data extension. We are retrieving data extension object. Here is a good object. Here, in order to retrieve, we have this piece of script. This piece of script needs to come here as well. Now what we have seen, an example is because I have this data extension already in my marketing club. We have used this example. Suppose if I don't have them, I don't need this function. Instead of this part, I need to put this script in order to retrieve the data extension object. Here manually, I have to give the access token and I have to edit all of them, and then I will be able to put that script. Marketing Club. When I run this automation, it will pull the content from this data extension that we have mentioned to a AP I call. And it will be comparing accordingly with the Marketing Club instance Marketing Club data extension we have, and then updating the data extension. This is also something that we use quite frequently because in order to access the data that we have in a server, we always have provided script activity in automation. This is the best use case for using SJS in the Marketing Club. There are plenty of an example, but for now updating the data because it's pretty much how we use SSJS. But what I would suggest is in case if you would like to explore more, there is a website called Script Inspire. This also became a gate. Here in this gate, we have some examples here. This is script C, something like that. This is our website. Here we have a multiple. This is a JavaScript I was talking about, accept cookies. This is a client side. When I go to code snippet, here we have plenty of operations and plenty of examples that we have here. It will be a little more complicated, but you can just pick up one of the use case and then you can just try it out and how it really works and all of them. But we need to have the data in the server. But there are some examples which we can probably follow without any server data. But it is in simple testing purpose. Script is for only JavaScript, not for AmpScript. Yes, only for server-side JavaScript. Those websites I have shared are only for SSJs. If any failure happens, where can we see the error log? Suppose when we are trying to run the server-side JavaScript, it has failed. The syntax is also we can do that. But apart from anything happens where we can check a log? That is a really good question. That's something that we cannot check with our automation studio. What we usually do is we create one more data extension called log data extension. There we put all the logging. We put all the status and everything we put in the data extension. When we run it, all of this information will be updated in that log. There's also script that we have in the Google. If we search, there's a script to run the log and store the log into data extension separately. That's something we have to do it. Like that will be extra work, but in case we have to log it. But in Marketing Cloud, we cannot do it by in-built option. But this is some external. We have to develop a little more script and then we have to do this, achieve this. Those kind of things. The log can be used for all the automation related log, just only for SSJs. Only for SJs, because suppose if I have to use this same log data extension for multiple SJS script, then it's going to be confusing. What we usually do is we create one separate data extension for this SJ script, and then we keep them separately. And that's how we will be able to check it. Perfect. What is the example like? An exact procedure that we can do is here. What I usually do is I also add a p subscript to check the log, to store the log into a different data extension. I will update here. And then we have to manually check this log data extension, but we cannot use this validate function. We have to manually check the data extension if any part of time, like if it's wrong. Basically, we do it only once to check if this data is pulling properly. And we also have to write all of this information, the SSJS script, saying if this is successful, then we will be keeping the log as successful. If it's failure, then we make it as a failure. That's always we do it whenever we are getting data from server. We always do this log. Otherwise, there is no way of checking, like if this integration or if this data that we're getting from server is working out. It has to be always there for most of the use cases. In case if you need the P subscript, I can also share that. I have the unread template with me. In case you get them, I will put that in the elements. You will be able to find them today. Thank you. No problem. That's it for my side on the SJs. Any questions? Again, I strongly recommend this website. And there's also a person, I think he's a Polish guy, SSJs in Salesforce. SSJS in Marketing blog. He does a lot of posting on SSJ's side of the site. His name is some Poland guy. This is a person. You can also refer his website. He has a really amazing content for the SSJs. That's his name. This is his name. I also find him on the LinkedIn. In case, if you'd like to refer some SSJS script or something, we usually come up with like a lot of posts on LinkedIn, seeing that with different use cases, SJS and manuscript, and all of them. He really does that. Perfect all. That's it for my side on the SSJs. I think with this we are completely done with the entire program. And of course, we were discussing about some. And I just forgot to talk about one thing. Most commonly We use these kind of activities in SSJS. Or I have also prepared one document to show you an example here. I just prepared this like before this session. Here we have this SJS add function. Whenever we add some fields into data extension, we have seen an example. This is an update functionality. Suppose if I have to add a field into data extension or record into data extension, we have to use this kind of format. We declare a variable, the object, and then we declare the external key of the data extension and name of the extension. And what is the field that we are updating all? This is some basic function. We do it for adding the data extension or updating a data extension. We know how to update. And then here, this is to add a particular row into the data extension. Here we are adding a data extension. Here we are adding a rows into the data extension. Your data extension in IND represents your external key of data extension. Give you an external key of data extension and add the rows which you would like to add. Like first name is the engine, last name is this, and email address is this and each. If you add this and these fields, the rows will be added into this data extension. And this is an example for adding fields into a data extension. Already we have in the marketing. And this is now with the API grid. Here we spoke about an example where if you would like to bring the data from a API call. Here is the example. Here we have to give external key and another DE added via SJS. And here we are adding one more data extension here from the value from the API call. Here we are using a BOS proxy. This is also script which we use it now like majorly in Salesforce Marketing Cloud. It is like a super advanced than SSJS, we can say. If any of you like trying to learn SSJS from scratch, I would recommend to use it as a BOS proxy because it is more advanced than SJS. And it is going to be a feature like in Marketing Cloud in the future. Category we know. Without using a server-side JavaScript, we can go a BOS proxy. Am I correct? I mean, we just have to combine both of them, but we just use the basic script like what we see here. And then we just have to combine the BOS proxy. And then we will be more like we can achieve, a lot like than SSJS. Perfect. And we just we create the data extension here again. It is again simple. And then now adding data to a data extension from an API side of it. This is something that we have already done it. We see this XML script. That is something that I will have it here. Here is a SOAP request that I am doing and currently the data from where I have mentioned. Here I also have to include a client ID client secret and where is this of a URL. That is all something. Here it says there is some password which is taken from this text file from my XML sheet. But in case if we are using an API call using an installed package, then we have to include this client ID, client secret, and the subdomain. And then with that information it will access, and then it will be adding a data extension to a data extension. Here I just have to say customer key. This is the only field that I have to update from a definition key. Definition key is your external key. This is my external key. Key of a data extension. When I keep this external key of data extension, it goes to each and every field and then it updates the data extension. This is to update the data and data to a data extension through an API call. We include the SIP script that we have seen in the Postman. We can take this only the subdomain. We have to change it here and then we just have to include these two fields as well. Like in this trust we have seen. Go here body this 2, 3 of this information we have to pass in. Here in the Postman it is taking automatically because I have updated here. But if I'm doing it manually, then I have to put this client ID separately here and then also include that in your call. It will automatically fetch from this particular client ID and client secret using a subdomain information. And then it will be creating a data extension based on that. And then we can also refer some data, like in the marketing cloud server, and then retrieve and updating information as completely possible. Perfect. Wait, that's in. This is something that I want to share and also upload this content into LMS because you can definitely take it for reference in the future. Because we use the SSJS in one of these. This is the most common. We use one of this concept in the SSJS. It will not be out of this, the same concept and the same thing that we have here. I guess we have also covered exactly the same use case. Like in the Postman, we have seen an example for transactional messaging. In a real time, if you would like to automate this entire process, and what we have to do is, first thing, we have to create a data extension. And we have to create the journey, build an email. In the journey builder, we have to pick up the transactional email complete here. In the journey builder, here we have this complete called transactional. Here we pick up this transactional and this part. Here we will create the definition key. Randomly, if I just create this definition key and we will pick up this data extension which we have created. It has to be a triple sign definition data extension. We have already seen how we can create a data extension using that complete. That's a data extension we have to pick up. And then when we say done this extra definition key, we just have to give them here. The email in the body. If I go, here is the definition key that I have to update. This has to be my data. Now what will happen is now, if this piece of code, this piece of code will be triggered like in the inside. Suppose if a customer submit the records, this piece of whichever the code that we are taking for. Whichever this piece of code that we are taking, suppose this is a piece of code if you would like to run it in the landing page. We can take the same piece of code and when customer click on submit button, this information will send the API call to Marketing Cloud instance. And because we have a journey which is running, it will trigger an email to the customers directly. This will start happening. Salesforce data extension is when we apply the filter to a synchronized data extension. That is going to be my Salesforce data extension. I cannot use the synchronized data extension directly for sending out the email. When I open this synchronized data extension, I can apply a filter. That is going to be my Salesforce data extension. When I apply filter to the synchronized data extension, that is my Salesforce data extension. And then here in the email, under the infractions, there will be one more tab. There will be one more tab when this integration is completed. It will be called Salesforce emails. And here it is the same procedure, like how we have done it user initiated. Instead of we pick up a data extension, we have to pick up that filter data extension from a synchronized PE. And when we send out, the only advantage is that whenever we trigger an email, this tracking information will be going back to Salesforce automatically. Because it's a binder connection, it will automatically send the information back to Salesforce. They do it like in multiple ways. Most of the organization. Now there are two options that we have. One option is we can give them option to the profile center. In the subscription button, I'll give the link for a profile center. If a customer clicks on subscription button, they'll go to this profile center page. There they can unsubscribe from all the marketing communications. An organization will create their own website. They will create their own website. There, whenever we click on unsubscription button, we pass the subscriber key value there. That unsubscription page is connected to the database. It may be connected to a Salesforce, CRM, or it may be connected to any other database that we have in the organization. When customer unsubscribes, it will go to database directly. That's the place we will be getting the data from into a marketing cloud instance. Whenever we keep the customized subscription page, it updates the source. From the source, we will have to synchronize in the marketing cloud. And when we do that, we don't need to run the manual SQL query or manual SJ script to check if the customer status is equal to active or not active. We don't need to do that. When we synchronize the data directly with the source data, it will be updated like a marketing cloud instance. The best example is like now. I can just probably write it with now. This is at the MC. Here I am sending an email to the customers. It will be unsubscription button. I will, when customer clicks on the subscription button, it will go to a custom page. In this custom page, it will be connected to my Salesforce CRM. Let's say Salesforce CRM. It would be like a Sales Cloud. Sales Cloud is already connected to a Marketing Cloud. When we send out an email, it goes to a custom page. When customer clicks on the subscription button, it updates in the Salesforce. And since we are connected, we keep on synchronizing. This will be keep on happening like in a circle. Salesforce also keeps on synchronizing data to SFMC every 15 minutes. And we will keep the most up-to-date information in the marketing cloud. That's how we exclude the customer. Suppose in some cases it will not be a Salesforce. It would be probably some EPL tool, or it may be like some database, like we have a lot of database. Like an example, like it may be like Azure or AWS. Their developer will be able to send the data to a centralized DB. From the centralized DB, we will have to get the data. And we get that. This will complete the process and Marketing Cloud will have the up-to-date information. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@uptalk.com.